Hi everyone, you've booked the trip of a lifetime to the Kruger National Park in South Africa, and you may be wondering if there are any books you could read to make your experience richer. I have a few suggestions for you. Painted Wolves, A Wild Dog's Life is one. It's by Nicholas Dyer and Peter Blinston. This is a fantastic coffee table book which tells you everything you need to know about painted wolves. These creatures have landed on the endangered species red list, and their future hangs in a very precarious balance. No one knows if they will see the next century or not. This map shows their previous distribution and their distribution in 2018. It's shocking to see how much habitat has been lost. So I definitely recommend reading this book, because the more we know about wild dogs, the greater chance they have of surviving. If you can find a copy of this book, I highly recommend reading it. Another wonderful book to read before your trip is Sociobiology by Edward O. Wilson. He was an ant biologist and a keen observer of wildlife. I know the book looks slightly intimidating, but it really is a fascinating read. If you want to bring a reference book with you, I would definitely recommend A Field Guide to the Larger Mammals of Africa by Chris and Tilde Stuart. This book has a plethora of wildlife in it, with beautiful photographs and extensive information too. So if you have a quiet moment on safari, you can read through it and it's really interesting. Also, it has animals in it for the entire continent of Africa, so it's definitely worth keeping in your library. I also suggest Signs of the Wild by Clive Walker. This is an absolute classic. As you can see, it has beautiful photographs, the distribution of animals in southern Africa, as well as a clear picture of their tracks. I really love this book and always take it with me when I go on safari. If you are a keen birder, and even if you aren't, I would recommend Robert's Bird Guide, Kruger National Park and adjacent Lowveld. This has birds in it that are native to the area. So there are over 500 different kinds of birds you can see in the Kruger Park. So identifying them can sometimes be a little tricky. It's really nice. So yeah, I definitely recommend bringing this with you. Robert's Bird Guide is a little thicker, but there is an app for it, and is also a good option. If you are interested in trees, A Pocket Guide by Piet van Wyk of Trees of Southern Africa is a nice option. It has photographs of the trees, their leaves and seed pods. If you're walking around the rest camp, you may wonder what kind of trees you are looking at, and sometimes they aren't marked. So this is very helpful. Also, when you are in the park, Kruger Routes by Berg is a great option. I have mentioned this before. Has nice photos, maps, and information about routes near each rest camp. All you need to do is find the rest camp you're staying at in this book, and then you will be able to choose the best routes to take and will most likely be able to spot certain kinds of animals if you're lucky. There also is a bigger version of this book, but obviously it's not the most practical size, so unless you're traveling by car all the way and not going by plane, this is a good option. Also, Tinker's maps, you'll be able to buy them at the rest camp. They have information about snakes, mammals, birds, etc., as well as very nice maps, so you won't get lost. And then as far as reading goes, I would maybe try get hold of a copy of Jock of the Bushveld by Sir Percy Fitzpatrick. This is a classic book. Sir Percy Fitzpatrick was a transport rider who brought goods to the Lowveld from Delagoa Bay. He travelled by ox wagon, and he had a pup who he called Jock. It's the story of Percy and Jock as they travelled through the Lowveld and the adventures they experienced. I like the older copies because they have beautiful illustrations. The language is a little bit archaic, but it's still a great story, and I must warn you, it's a sad one, so keep your tissues handy. And yeah, I think that's about it. I hope you have a wonderful trip to South Africa or in South Africa. All the best. Bye now.